Welcome to Pilates is the Answer podcast, where you can discover the power of Pilates and how it can improve every aspect of your life. We are your hosts, Stacey Jernigan
and Pearl Dahmen, and we look forward to introducing and sharing all of the questions about which Pilates is the answer.
Welcome back, Pilates is the Answer podcast family. So Pearl and Sagey Girl, oh sweet little Sage, and I are here today, and we are going to, in honor of National Pilates Month, May, we are going to talk about all of our favorite things related to Pilates, and I'm excited. It'll just be a fun little quick episode, and we want it to be really interactive, so we're hoping that you'll chime in and let us know what your favorites are that are related to anything Pilates related.
Yes. And if we forgot categories. Because we thought of the things that are favorite for us, but there might be other kinds of favorite things.
That's right.
That you would be interested in. So you want to start off?
Well, I didn't do my homework, so
that's okay. Of course I did. So
yes, you did. So I'll let you begin with your list.
Okay. So, what I did is I made a list of what we talked about, and then I, what my favorites were in that list. I did not add to the list. So, but you're good at that, coming up with other things. So the first thing we talked about was favorite exercise. Favorite exercise to do, favorite exercise to teach. So what is your favorite exercise to teach?
To teach? Ooh, let me think about that one. My favorite one to do is bridge, hands down. I love bridge. I didn't always. And I'm not necessarily good at bridge, like on the reformer, for example, especially on light springs. It's really challenging for me to not shorten and cramp my hamstrings. But a bridge, a low bridge, a hinge bridge, with either just on the mat with the feet on the ground or feet on the platform of the reformer with the ring around my legs to really help me, around my thighs, to really help me engage my side glutes. Love a bridge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on my back, so, it's enjoyable and engaging my glutes, which I know are so important in strengthening to help support my back and my knees and my hips and all that. So I love that. What about you? What's your favorite?
My favorite to do, and I had to think about this because I, love all of Pilates, but I think the one that I walk away with that I'm just like, feels so good, is any kind of spine lengthening. So, and some of those we don't do in regular group classes, but the spine lengthening, a lot of them you do on the Cadillac, where I know one, you just lengthen that spine, and then I just feel like I'm a brand new person and a foot taller. So that's my favorite ones to do. If I had to pick one, I hate picking one.
You have lots. What's your second favorite?
Second favorite. Oh, wow. I guess I like to strengthen my shoulders because they were a problem for me because I have strong legs, weak upper body. So I like the upper body things. And I think I'm going to say the one that I like is the one that I like to teach. Well, I have two that I like to teach, but I like to teach this one a lot, and that is chest expansion because it helps your posture, it opens your shoulders, it strengthens your back. And so if I had to pick one that I like because it's good for me, that's the one that I would pick. And I do like to teach that one, but the one I like to teach, the one that I like to teach the most is the one everybody loves, feet and straps. And I like to teach it because, when you get there, everybody's so happy.
That's true. That's a good point. They do love that.
Yeah, so that's why I like that. I like the chest expansion because of what it does for you, and it's so important. But I like feet and straps because you can do anything during class. As long as they get to do feet and straps, it's a good class.
That's true. They love that. I think my favorite to teach is side lying. Anything, which I need to clarify. I am saying side lying, Lying. I have learned from my students in teacher training that they think I'm saying sideline, like Sideline.
Oh.
And they think it's like, even though it says like in the manual, in their teacher training manual, that it says side lying, the way that I say it, they think is just like an additional
Alabama twang. There's a new exercise. They only do it in Alabama.
That's right. Yeah, sideline exercises. So side lying exercises. I've always been self-conscious about my voice, so.
Oh no!
But, well, I mean,
it's good here.
Well, it's funny because when we first moved to Alabama, I was little, and maybe like 2 or 3, and then when I started. And I was just at home with my mom, and my sister and my dad, and didn't go to like daycare or anything like that. So when I started going to kindergarten, I was coming home and saying things like Schultz. My mom didn't know what I was saying. She'd say Schultz, and I'd say, I don't want to wear this dress to church. I want to wear my Schultz. And she's like, no, it's shorts. And no, you're not wearing them. You're wearing a dress. And she always tried really hard. She was from San Diego.
Oh, okay.
And didn't really have like an accent. And didn't want me to develop that southern draw,
But obviously, she didn't accomplish
living there, she did when I was little. But then, living there for 40-something years, I just I think time won against her. But so it does come out. I say, sometimes I'll make fun of myself when it happens. Like if I say heels wide on the foot bar. Anyway,
I have things I hear myself, gonna things like that, and you know what?
We're human.
Exactly.
So side lying exercises are my favorite to teach. And why? Even though it's really hard to get people in the right setup, ribs lifted, shoulder stacked, hip stacked, all of that. They can really feel the muscles working. Like the side booty muscles. That's one of my favorite cues. Side booty muscles. You can feel them burning when they're working.
Yes,
Whereas there's a lot of the smaller stabilizer muscles that when we work them, we don't necessarily really feel that, working sensation. We don't feel the burning sensation. Sometimes you can feel a little activation. Sometimes you can feel a little shaking sensation. But the side glutes, people really can feel like, oh, I'm working hard.
Right.
I like those.
Yeah, you've got to make something burn a little bit, or they don't feel like they've been to a workout.
True. Yeah.
Even though we know and try to explain to them that we're going on the deep little muscles and they shouldn't burn, because if they burn, we're hurting them.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. But you're right. They want to feel the burn. And there's actually some Pilates programs and studios and stuff that promote that kind of, that's their motto, feel the burn. So you're right. I think there is that, that kind of information out there. But that's why I do like the side lying, because that is a time where you can feel the burn.
Yeah. Nice. So the second one we talked about is apparatus.
Oh, my favorite. Okay, so my favorite to teach on is the chair.
Okay.
Even though a lot of people have a love-hate relationship with the chair. If you've never done Pilates, or if you have done Pilates and you thought it wasn't very challenging, you need to try the chair.
Yes.
Chair is really, really challenging, and it's just like a little simple looking apparatus. You don't think that it's going to be able to do much, but it's crazy all the things you can do on the chair to strengthen different parts of the body and move your spine.
Joseph Pilates created the chair because the reformer was too big for New York apartments. So he designed it so you could do a lot on it that you could do on the reformer, only harder.
And that you could actually sit on for furniture.
I know.
Yes, he used to have guests.
Yeah, he used to use it. He made them for his living room furniture.
Okay.
Amazon is coming. We're going to have to take a quick commercial break. Nice delivery from the UPS guy. And we are back, and we were talking about apparatus and the chair.
Oh, the chair. I like to teach on the chair, but it is challenging. It is really challenging for especially when you're just beginning.
Yeah.
And then for me to do exercises, I love the Cadillac.
High five on that one.
The Cadillac.
25 years ago, when I first experienced Pilates, it was on the Cadillac, and Pilates has been on my wish list for every year since to get back into it. So when I had the opportunity, it was a no-brainer. I was chasing the opportunity to be able to be a Pilates teacher and, have access and understand and know how to do things. So yeah, Cadillac, my absolute favorite. And teaching, I had to think about that one again too. But I think if I would have to pick an apparatus, I would pick the springboard because of all of the versatility. You can stand up, you can sit down, you can lay down, you can do sideline.
That's right. Oh, I do love the springboard.
Yeah, the springboard for teaching is really, I mean, I do enjoy teaching the chair, but it's challenging because form is so important when you're on the chair, whereas the springboard, it's a lot easier to get people in form. So
I think I don't think about the springboard as readily as probably some Pilates instructors because I teach such a mixture. Sometimes group classes where studios do have a springboard, but a lot of times you're utilizing the tower end of the Cadillac.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Well, see, but that's the thing. That's part of the Cadillac
right.
too.
Yes,
exactly. It's the tower
so
end.
that's why I was thinking yes, because there's
Yeah.
so many things you can do on that end is what I was thinking. But yeah, so you're right, tower end or springboard. Yes, so many great things you can do. Cool.
So when we were talking, next on the list was favorite prop to teach to use.
Ring, 1000%. I love the ring to teach stretching. I love the ring to help with alignment. I love the ring to help with activation. And for me, though, that's with teaching. For me, I love a decent size ball that you can support your low back, whether you're leaning back or laying down and propping under the low back and doing like some single leg stretch or just, some basic core work. It really helps you learn how deeply you can go and that you're not going when you're just laying on a stable flat surface.
You know what? That makes me think I could really use learning a little more how to use the ball that way. Okay. We should do an episode. I'm being selfish because I want to learn some more, but I think that would be good for our listeners too, because many people do need that support of their back. So I think that would be a good thing for us to take a look at. Maybe some ways to use props
at home, because you can get a ball for like $8 on Amazon.
Oh, I know.
I found my ring at a garage sale for $3.
Oh my gosh! And even buying them outright, they're not that expensive. No. And so, if you have those
many uses,
actually, and you can use them together.
Yeah,
there's ways to use them together. Right. Yeah, even better. And so that for those that aren't in a situation that you can go to a Pilates class every day of the week, you can take the days you don't go and do your own little 10-15 minutes, because 10-15 minutes will do a lot for you. Pilates is a consistent, persistent way of changing your body. So doing a little bit every day is important.
Absolutely. I agree.
So for me, again, this to teach, I have kind of used the ball a lot, but not in the ways that you've used it. I use it more, to activate the inner thighs, because to activate the inner thighs then activates, the core muscles. So that's where I use it a lot, the squeezing the inner thighs. And same thing with the ring. And probably, I know I haven't used props nearly as much as I should. Just recently, I found some fun ways to use the TheraBands and have started to like those too. But for myself, I have to say the props that I like are the foam roller and the trigger ball.
Oh, true. Yeah.
So, more than activation, it's more of that relief. It's more of that keeping things, calm, stretched out.
Yeah.
And, that's one of the things that I don't know if we really, make people think about that enough, but it's not all workout. You need to rest. And if you want to do a class or if you want to do something to rest, then do a nice balancing class or a rolling class. And it gives your body a rest, but you're still doing a workout.
We need to have like a myofascial release specialist on a future podcast.
Oh, yeah.
If any of our listeners have any expertise in myofascial release, foam rolling, trigger point rolling, I know a little bit, but I would really love to have somebody that's
same here. Yeah. When I first got started, I did a lot of research because I like to talk about what I'm doing, and so I understand it, but not an expert at all.
Not an expert.
No, I think that's a good subject. Put it on our list.
Yes,
put it on our list. We have lots of lists.
We do.
All righty. Pilates principle. Okay, so our favorite. But before we do that, for those who don't know them off the top of their head, and although I can recall them not very necessarily quickly, there is a little bit of, I don't want to say disagreement, but depending on what source you go to, there's anywhere from 6 to 8. So I'm just going to list all of the 8. And if you believe there's only 6, then just forget to. So it's breathing, balance, centering, concentration, control, precision, flow, and rhythm. So what's your favorite?
There's so many that are my favorite, but
I know.
probably precision, because I know, especially for myself, and then also when watching someone, perform the exercises, that if they can learn to move in a very precise, exact way. So my best example is single leg stretch, where you're laying on your back, one leg bends, the other leg straightens.
Mm-hmm.
If you can bring the bent leg to the exact same spot every time, even like stopping at a tabletop as
Right.
opposed to getting the actual stretch portion, that's really challenging. And then if you can extend the opposite leg to the exact same spot every time and move with that precision, you're going to be working much more efficiently than if you just kind of, not that people intentionally do
Fling
this, but
those
like
legs,
haphazardly,
yes.
yeah.
No, I hear you there. Precision was coming to me a lot when I started thinking about this, but I decided that centering was my favorite, because I feel like centering embodies the rest of them somehow. You have to be centered to have your balance. You have to be centered so you can concentrate. If you're centered, the flow happens, the rhythm happens. If you're centered, you can have that precision. So that's why I picked centering, because then I could have all of them without saying all of them.
There you go. Good thinking.
There's logic behind it all, right? Right. So, your favorite benefit?
Oh, maybe it's probably a tie between posture and preventing and helping heal back pain.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, probably a tie.
Okay. So the benefit that I picked, and it's not specific, it's a general, it's that Pilates is for everybody. It's for everybody, anyone, and it's for every kind of body. And I think that's what contemporary Pilates has brought it to. The classical was not so much that way, or at least my understanding of it. So, there's a little, I'm going to admit, there's a little selfishness in there, because I found that I made this goal that I'd like to live to 120, and Pilates is one of the ways I can get there. But it's for everybody. Joseph Pilates trained soldiers in bed. That's what he built this equipment around. So no matter where you are, no matter who you are, no matter how much or little you can move, there is a Pilates exercise, a Pilates regime, something related to Pilates that you can do to improve your posture, your movement, your health. And that's what I think is the benefit, that it's for everybody.
Yeah, I like that for sure.
Yeah.
Good one.
So, all righty, cool. How about favorite book?
I don't know that I've found one yet. I have a few that are related to anatomy that I love. My go-to is not really a book, but it's my training manual from my principal Pilates training, years ago. And it just is the way it's outlined. It just has so much information that's helpful with learning all the principles, learning what Pilates is, learning the benefits. It has just all of it kind of combined with the anatomy. And I like just kind of having it all in one place in a very visual way, where there's pictures and things like that.
Well, you just pulled that out. I just saw it briefly a little bit ago, and it does look very thorough, and it's like, I want a copy of that. It looks so good. But then I gather books like crazy on every subject, and I have many Pilates books, and I like to look at them, and I go to 2 or 3. And so if there's an exercise that I want to add to what I'm doing, I'll go to like 2 or 3 different books and see how each of them defines it, because each book focuses on something a different way. So I had to think about it, and I thought, well, I haven't found one book. I do, like you, like the anatomy books, because they seem to be very helpful and I can internalize it. But I think that if I had to pick a favorite book, and this is going to kind of come from left field, It's Caged Lion
Oh, I knew you were
by
going to say
John
that. That's not
Howard
left field.
Steele.
I knew you were going to say
But
that.
yeah, but our listeners probably don't. So there's two reasons, because I actually met John Howard Steele, and I listened to the book on Audible, so I got to hear him explain it. But the reason that I'm going to pick that as my favorite book is he tells the real story. I mean, he was their friend, he was their attorney, he was their client, and he talks about things that nobody else does. And so it's really, really fascinating. And so I really, listening to that book, I felt a true connection to Joseph Pilates.
Okay.
But, you know, and I always joke about it, he was born about 100 miles from where I was born. Of course, not the same year.
Yeah.
So that German background, my mother's German, my dad's family is German. So I understand that whole German work ethic and attitude. Yeah. So, you know, I feel a little kindred spirit, you know, maybe that's just me wanting to feel it, but anyway.
No, that makes sense. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, if you're fascinated about Joseph Pilates and you have not read that book, and if you like audio, really listening to the author read the book is really good. It sounds like he's talking to you. It's really great.
Okay, I haven't listened to it on audio. Yeah. That's a good idea.
I'm an audiobook person. Yeah. It takes me forever to read because I fall asleep.
Yeah.
So the last thing we had on our list, and you're welcome to spontaneously add more, but the last one is, what is your favorite toe socks?
Oh, for sure. The actual toe socks where your toes are separated. And I like toes out because my feet sweat, so I don't like the ones where my toes are covered. But it is so beneficial, which we've talked about this previously in other podcasts, but so beneficial with alignment, separating the toes, strengthening the feet, the toes learning to operate independently of each other, helps with balance, you know, preventing ankle sprains, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Well, high five on that one too.
Same.
And lots of the same reasons, you know, I've been working on opening the feet up, but I tell a tale on myself. So I like the toe socks a lot, the open toes. And I have tried the closed toes, not happy. And the other ones are like wearing regular socks. So it's not any different. But there was a toe sock sale, and they were trying to get rid of the slow movers, and they were all closed toes. I actually bought them and cut the ends off so I could have open toe
and they
socks.
Didn't fray?
No, they didn't fray. It was great.
Good idea.
Yeah. So there's a tip.
Some of them are
if you like. Oh, I know. And they were like a 40 or 50% off. And I bought one pair and I tried it, and I was going to singe it, you know, with the match. Didn't even have to do that.
Good to know.
Yeah. So there's a little tip.
I will say I do like going barefoot when I can, but I know some studios don't allow that for sanitary reasons, safety reasons, which I totally get. The grip socks, though, are very important for safety. But so yeah, if I had to choose, it'd definitely be the toe socks.
Toe socks. So did you come up with anything while we were talking, or since we've talked?
I wasn't thinking about it while we were
Favorites?
talking. But I do know that I would love to say that just with Pilates in general, my favorite sort of thing about me coming into the Pilates world, and maybe I've mentioned this on a podcast before about how I've come into the Pilates world, was not really like most people find Pilates.
Yeah.
You know, most people like find it, love it, go to classes, and then eventually decide to be an instructor, you know, or, you know what Pilates is and, you know, think that that'd be a really cool job or whatever. I don't know. Which is another fun thing I would love to hear from our listeners is what, you know, brought you to Pilates.
The path to Pilates. Yeah.
But, so for me, you know, I was having a lot of back pain, and I had all different elements of care, from physical therapy, chiropractic care, you know, all the things. And nothing was helping permanently. It was just a couple of days of relief. And so one of my friends that was coming to my Mommy and Me fitness classes, which is Julie Turner, recommended coming to Pilates, and I absolutely fell in love with it. Didn't really know what I was getting myself into, and she kept talking about the reformer, and I couldn't picture it.
Yeah.
And I was nervous too once I walked in and saw that it was like a machine looking type thing.
A scary machine, no less.
And so I was like, oh, and there's the springs look extremely heavy, and I just thought, you know, what are we going to be doing? But then, of course, she was amazing, you know, and And then the reformer itself is amazing. And so I had such a great experience. My back did not hurt at all, which never happened with
Oh,
any form of
yeah.
exercise at all. I was always experiencing pain during and after and just dealing with it because I didn't want to do pain medicine, surgery, or anything
Oh,
like that.
absolutely.
So I was so impressed with how good I felt, but it was expensive, and so she was like, you should become an instructor and then you can have access to the equipment. And it would really help you with incorporating Pilates with your mommy and me clients. And so after just like just one session and one actual mat class, I signed up. So, but the
You're a
coolest thing,
believer.
yeah, I was like, and partially for myself, but also because I was like, this works. And
Yeah.
I was already in social work and wanted to do something that helped people. And so
Yes,
this was
yes.
the perfect solution,
Yeah.
and that I could have a more flexible schedule to be with my son more. So it just seemed
Mm-hmm.
like such an answer. So Pilates was the
Yeah,
answer
Pilates is
for
the
me
answer.
in my family situation and my
Yeah.
career. But what I was thinking after it brought me into what I didn't expect and what's been one of the favorite things that has come about is all the people that I've met.
Yeah.
Friends, I mean, just people that I would call family,
Yeah.
both through coworkers and bosses, people I've
Oh,
worked
yeah. Well,
for,
and great
people I've worked
clients
with,
too.
clients, the people that have come to me for privates that I've just really connected with
Mm-hmm.
and been able to help.
Yeah.
So rewarding. People in classes that have taken classes, and then also um, just people that I've just met through
Yeah.
networking,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
other instructors that I've never even gotten to meet or talked with. And so that's the cool thing, is just so many people that I've connected with. And my teacher trainers, that was the other thing I was going to say, my students. I've met just so many amazing, amazing, wonderful quality people that I never would have gotten to meet
No.
otherwise.
Yeah.
And so it is just really cool, like how much it has done for me that I never expected. It has really provided a lot for Maddox and I that I just am so thrilled with. So it's been a great path for me for sure. So
Yeah.
it's my
No.
favorite
Yeah,
in
that's
lots
your
of
favorite.
ways.
So listen, that's absolutely great. And everybody comes in a different way. And one of the things that I've observed, and I have like a totally different background. I was in the business world. I've done things with change management. I've evaluated habits. I get on all these ideas and then I go down the rabbit hole. And so a couple years ago, it was about changing things in your life, changing in your organization. And I did a lot of research on habits and how to change, which is really a lot about your health and about your fitness and that type of thing. And one of the things that I learned about in all these different books is what they call the key habit. And that's the habit that you change, that then there's a ripple effect to lots of other habits. And I've come to believe, and one of my favorite things about Pilates is I like to call it the key habit. Because when someone, and I've seen it loads and loads of time, when they develop that key habit of, falling in love with Pilates, and of course they don't even realize how it's, bringing them into a calmer life with less stress and all the good things, then because they've got that habit, suddenly they watch their diet better. They're taking on different types of exercise. They're letting go of some things they need to let go of. And so I think that one of my favorite things is how Pilates is a catalyst, just like it was for you, to so many good things in your life, and myself too. I mean, the people that I love the people that I meet in Pilates. Part of it is, the old saying, birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah.
You go to a job and work and everybody's looking to go for a job, but you come to Pilates, everybody's like-minded. They have that, they want to help people. They want to be healthier, and then people that want to help, people that want to be healthier, want a better world, they want a safer world, and all those things that we want in life.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And just all the benefits, like we've mentioned about the connection with the mind and the body and the spirit. There's just so many benefits that you're right, that people are looking for more than just the physical aspect of it.
Exactly.
And that's what's so cool, is that people want to learn how to get out of pain and how to move better and how to feel better and feel better mentally and spiritually as well. So that's really, the cool thing is you meet so many people that are good quality people.
Exactly.
One other thing would be maybe like your favorite cue.
My favorite cue. Oh, wow. You go first because you probably have it already on the top of your head.
Well, You know, I don't have the classiest of cues. I don't. So in the beginning, I probably tried to teach like very official and very professionally, and very like thinking about cues that would be like PR approved or whatever. And then I thought nobody cares about that, and I don't need to prove myself or prove my knowledge. So now I come up with the ones that get people knowing where I'm talking about the fastest. So my top two are probably bra fat. If I'm teaching a female,
let's hope so.
Because they know, and if not, then I'll say underarms. Or I'm not even opposed to saying armpit. So that they really focus on the front and the back of the armpit. And there's so many reasons for that, which we talked a lot about in our podcast body scan. So if you're listening, you want more info about that. And then my other one is side booty, because side glutes, I love those. And it's just funny that I started saying that because you probably don't hear a lot of instructors talk that way. But also I used to, when I was being very, anatomically correct in the beginning, I would reduce saying gluteus medius to glute med. And so I would say, make sure you're feeling your glute med. And one of my clients said, you have the most disgusting names for your cues. And I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, I'm so sorry. What is it? She said, like, you're talking, I think like a rump roast on my side here. And you say glute meat. I was like, no.
The Alabamas.
I'm not saying meat. I'm shortening medius, like mead, like this MED, like the side. And I was like, never mind, I'm going to change.
No, you have because of that Alabama accent, you do have to adjust a few things.
I do. And then my other, I think, favorite in terms of like a client is that I would oftentimes, be reminding her to engage her core and her glutes with lots of different exercises that can apply. And she would say, Stacey, it's like the whole time you want me to think about core and fanny. And I said, that is very true. That's exactly what I want. And I just thought that was so precious. So maybe I should bring back the fanny.
I like the fanny.
Sweet Augusta.
So when I first started 6 years ago, the person that kind of was guiding or leading what was going on, they didn't like the term booty or butt, so glutes. And so I got that burned in my brain, glutes. And I just side glutes, or, sometimes I'll do the gluteus minimus because you can't get to it much. When you do, you feel it real good. But so
that's definitely more professional and more PR.
Exactly. Well,
which I never claim to be in general. I try when it's necessary. If I'm leading a workshop or something.
It's so hard. Well, I think almost everybody knows glutes, but when you start getting into like, a lot of times I like to say quads, but quads and front of your thighs just rolls out together because I know people don't know what that means. And so whenever I want to say the correct anatomy, I try to follow it right up with I'll call it slang, but with the common term, because especially new people don't know what those are.
That's right.
And they would never come up and say, oh, what very few. There's a few that would, but not very many of them.
So you do have to say it.
So I've kind of learned, if I'm going to use the more anatomical names, then I'm going to follow it right up with a common name. You just have to. So I think what I use a lot, what comes to mind a lot, and it'll go back to my favorite, the ball, is I put it between the thighs, and then I do a cue, squeeze the ball, feel your pelvic floor lift, feel your abdominals engage. And so I like to remind that. And then I like to start in footwork. And then later, when there's no ball there, I say, activate the inner thighs, feel it come up. And then later, when they're standing doing an exercise and I want them to activate their abs, I say, remember, activate your inner thighs, and that'll help to activate your abs. So I think that's one I take through the class and try to refer back to, because if I can have them find it in the beginning, then they'll be able to find it later.
Yeah, that's helpful. I like that.
So that's, I don't know about favorite, but it is the one that I know I use a lot.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, this was fun.
Oh, yeah. Yay. National Pilates Month of May.
Definitely let us know anything that comes to mind in terms of what your favorites are. Any category or any of the categories we covered or any additional one. We would love to hear from you.
We hope you enjoyed this episode and thank you for tuning in. For more information, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Pilates is the Answer and on the web at pilatesistheanswer.com.
Feel free to message us with questions for which you are searching the answer. We would love for you to follow our podcast, leave a kind review, and lots of stars.